I think that inflammation is actually an adaptation that our body has made to prevent against the leading cause of death, which for mankind was chronic systemic infections, bacteria getting into our bloodstream, spreading throughout our body, getting into our nervous system, causing meningitis, our lungs, causing pneumonia. That used to kill everybody. And so inflammation is an intelligent adaptation the body has made to protect against that. Like you said, it's trying to get rid of that pathogen as quickly as possible. However, in our society, in a sense, we end up, we don't have we typically don't have big tissue wounds from, somebody throwing a spear at us or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. We might get, from time to time, cuts on our fingers, but that's not really the big issue. The big issue really tends to be tears in our gut lining, right? That tends to be a big issue. And also things we're being exposed to, things we're putting on our skin, things we're breathing, right? And I know you're going to go into a lot more detail about what types of things those are, but there are a lot of chemical threats and living organism threats, like bacteria getting into our bloodstream through our gut because our gut is permeable. And that has a lot to do with the way that we live our lives. The stress that we're under, chronic stress causes permeability in our gut. The food that we're consuming, right, which also causes stress in our body, blood sugar imbalances, drives up inflammation. Gluten stimulates zonulin, which causes more loosening and permeability in the gut, which opens up that gut junction. Now bacteria, food particles seep in. We're not producing enough stomach acid. We're eating on the go, right? There's just a lot of different factors that are going into that. So our diet and our lifestyle are causing more bacteria and chemicals to get into our bloodstream, and the body's just adapting. It's just responding the way it has responded in order to keep us alive. But unfortunately, we're not shutting that signal off. And that's exactly what you were talking about.
Exactly. And one aspect of inflammation that we need to recognize is it predisposes the body to and actually produces free radicals in the body. And we all talk about free radicals and antioxidants, like that's your vitamin C, right? That's just basic 9th grade biology. And you need the antioxidants to clean up the free radicals and the nitrogen, oxygen species. And so what we see is there's this rampant just destruction of cellular metabolism at the core of who we are and the core of how our body functions. And so what I want to share is something very profound, but it's extremely simple. You got to take your hand out of the fire. And so what does that mean? That means you have to stop the onslaught of chemical influx into your body. And that includes primarily what you breathe. That includes what you put on your skin. And I'm not even going to cover food because I know you're going to cover it and people can read your books, the Keto Metabolic Breakthrough. And one book I see behind you, The Fasting Transformation. Let me not only give a shameless plug for your book, but let me suggest that everyone in this event, everyone watching, anyone at this point of the conversation, at this point of the summit, you need to fast. Everyone needs to fasting. And I'm going to give my own little version of fasting. I'm going to add what you share, but I'm going to go one next step further. People need to fast from the environmental onslaught that's happening. You need to put yourself in a position where you literally stop the flow of toxins into your body. Yeah. And people, what breaks my heart, brother, is well-intentioned medical doctors. We got the CNN and we got the fake news, everyone talking about what people need to do and how do people need to be healthy. Yeah. Again, I quoted, and the reason I quote what I just quoted is because I want you to realize this is peer-reviewed, PubMed indexed literature that's talking about toxins. Well, we get bastardized, like here are the natural people jumping over a stick and howling at the moon and using essential oils, talking about the toxins. No, this is legitimate research and how science works. So if you want your body to get out of the chronic inflammation state, you need to get yourself out of your home first. Spend some time outside in nature, get some fresh air, do what's known as forest bathing. I'd love to talk about that in just a minute. Get some sunlight. Fast from the environment that is causing the onslaught. Do that a couple hours, a couple times a week. and then systematically create a nice, healthy environment in your home. And not everyone has the wherewithal or the finances to do everything they need to do. And I understand. I mean, we used to be very, very, broke. I mean, you know what it's like being a college student, but I was a college student with 3 kids and I was on food stamps and we were barely getting through. And, we didn't have the money to buy an air purification system or water purification system. So we slowly did things that we could afford. But there's a lot of things that you could do, and I'm going to share those little things. So if you've listened to me or you've talked, if you read my books, I harp on a lot of the same things because it's the same things. It's the fundamentals that get you to the championship. It's the fundamentals that help you succeed in life. And so I want to encourage you to fast. Fast from not only from food, do a legitimate, follow Dr. Jockers' fasting transformation, fast from food in the way that he suggests, right? But I also want to take your fast one step further, fast from a toxic environment. And if your home is filled with aerosols, if you work at an office that's off-gassing chemicals, if you walk into your office and you automatically smell like mold, like I used to in my old office setting, or you smell like because your cubicle neighbor next to you, like I used to have, uses toxic perfume. I mean, you can only do so much, right? You got to get yourself out of that environment. So do what I used to do. I took healthy air breaks. I had colleagues that used to smoke and still do every hour on the hour, go outside. Well, I used to go out and I used to get fresh air. Like I fasted from it. I want you to use the mindset of getting yourself out of a situation where you're stopping the flow of toxins. Go outside in nature, take a lunch break. And a lot of people are working from home now. You have a lot more freedom of what you want to do, what you can do. But imagine you fast from other things like toxic relationships. And I hope we have a minute to talk about how emotional stressors, depression, anxiety, trauma, chronic stress, and depression literally trigger inflammation. And that's the body's response to help get you out of that situation, right? Fear is actually a good thing. You're afraid of something, right? The sympathetic nervous system is a good thing. It's just when you're stuck in it. Right. It's just when you're stuck in that fear mode, that fight or flight mode. So maybe fasting from a toxic relationship, maybe fasting from, by the grace of God, anger or frustration or for unforgiveness. I mean, there's a lot of things we could go. So I definitely want to cover the emotional
social
aspect
media
of it.
or something like that, right?
That's the next step. And then fast from technology. Yeah. And how, what double standard and contradiction is it to tell you this via technology? But, hey, call me on my bluff, press pause right now, go outside and get a fresh air break for 5 seconds, come back.
There you go.
We're not leaving anywhere, right? Literally do that. So imagine you fast from social media. Imagine you fast from the news. Imagine you fast from whatever it is. And next thing you know, you start to feel better. And sometimes, I'll tell you, you'll feel better immediately. And just this morning, for example, I didn't have my phone with me. I'll tell you, you guys have soon to be 4 children. I have 5 children. There's nothing like a baby to cause you to stop. Just stop, because he or she demands you to stop. Feed me, burp me, change my diaper, repeat, right? Rinse and repeat. and also the love that you have in your heart for this baby. It causes you to stop and hug and snuggle. And, I found myself following that beautiful psalm, being still and know that I'm God, with my son. So today, before this interview, I could have done a couple different things, but I didn't have my phone near me. I had some nice, relaxing music in the background, and me and baby Ezekiel kind of snuggled up and reread a chapter of the Bible together like we try to do every day. It was just us, just being us. Yeah. Completely fasting from technology, from social media, from stress, from my emails. Again, nothing near me. It was just us. And that was a sacred 15 minutes that I will confess to you, 2 months ago, I struggled with because of, you name it, projects or other kids needing other attention and things. I am very much grateful every time I have a child for that great holy reset to say, look, calm, chill, relax. Now I'm outside. And I have a motivation because I want my son, my baby, to go outside to get some fresh air. And one point, I kid you not, for an hour, we were outside. We walked through the trails in our home. We found our little swing that we go to we have swings in the middle of the, like bench swings. And we just sat and we just enjoyed, and we did nothing but breathe the air that was being emitted from nature.